Huey Lewis and the News, singing their 1986 hit, Hip to Be Square. And what's the news with Huey Lewis these days? John Blackstone has tracked him down for a summer song.
In Montana's Bitterroot Valley, not only does a river run through it, when the fly fisherman is Huey Lewis, a rhythm runs through it.
If I'm saltwater fishing or something, I'll show you, I'll strip to a certain song.
Listen closely enough, and you might just hear the heartbeat of rock and roll. In 1983, Huey Lewis and the News hit the top 10 with Heart of Rock and Roll. It was the first track on Sports, an album that sold more than 10 million copies. The platinum records hang on the wall of Lewis's rehearsal space near San Francisco. And on that album, not one hit, not two hits, at least four.
Don't embarrass me, John.
Those hits include If This Is It, I Want a New Drug, and Heart and Soul. Lewis is marking this 30th anniversary of Sports with a tour and release of a remastered CD. While the music business has gone through many changes in 30 years, it's meant Lewis's fans have bought the same songs more than once. They bought it on vinyl, they bought it again on tape, they bought it on CD, now they're downloading it.
You're right. You're right. I mean, the timing was very good for us.
Not only has his music lived on since the 1980s, but so has
the original Heart of Rock and Roll code. Right there. Made famous through MTV. I could probably get something on eBay for that. Huh?
When Lewis had his first top 10 hit, Do You Believe in Love, in 1982, music videos were in their infancy.
I thought it was the worst thing I'd ever seen. I was just cringeworthy. It was so silly and stupid. And at the end, everybody stood up and applauded. So I thought to myself, well, anybody can do this. Let's make videos ourselves. And that was the inspiration.
From then on, they produced their own music videos, apparently not taking themselves too seriously.
We weren't really concerned with our image that much. I mean, I don't even have a tattoo, you know?
And his hobbies, golf and fly fishing, don't necessarily match the usual image of a rock star.
It's okay, though, isn't it? I mean, where would you rather be?
Now, 62, he spends as much time as he can on his ranch in Montana.
In the early 80s, when we finally, had a little bit of success, and I had a couple nickels to rub together, the first thing I wanted to do was to buy a place up here, and that's what we did.
Part of his 500 acres is a working ranch with crops and cattle. Part of it is kept as wildland. Let's talk about Huey Lewis as a country gentleman. Is that how I should describe you on this land?
You can describe me however you want, John. No, I love it out here. It's a chance to decompress, as they say. Okay, sorry.
But the phone's on you all the time. Early in his career, the phone didn't ring nearly enough. He spent most of the 1970s playing harmonica in a band called Clover. By 1980, in spite of his boyish good looks, he was getting on.
30 years old is old in this business, for starters.
So you said you turned 30 with $300.
Yeah.
You'd been a professional musician for, more than a decade?
Yeah, exactly.
Things weren't going too well.
No, but in retrospect, they weren't going too well. But I was fine. I was convinced, first of all, that we were about to make it next week. And I was improving.
He formed his own group, Huey Lewis and the American Express. But when they signed to make a record, the name had to go.
They were afraid that American Express would sue us for the name. And so we had 24 hours to come up with a new name, came up with the News.
And by 19 1983, with the release of Sports, they'd become big news.
Well, we had a little discussion. We said, look, guys, enjoy this, because this is, you only go from obscurity to number one once. And this is going to be a great thing. Let's enjoy it. And I can honestly say we did.
But for a lot of people, you hit it big. It's sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, well, we experimented. We're no saints. But at a certain point, the thrill is being able to play music and have people show up.
In 1985, Lewis was among the biggest names in music. Literally. One of the galaxy of stars recording We Are the World, raising money to fight famine in Africa. That's where he met Bob Dylan.
Yeah, meeting Dylan was great. He sent me a little handwritten note and a song, which I never recorded. Note to self. When Bob Dylan gives you a song, record it.
Most of his songs he's written himself or with members of his band.
Where does music come from? Where does it come from?
I wish I knew. I think it comes from the muse, for lack of a better description. But the best ones are given to you. You and I can sit here and say we're going to write a song. And we can write a song. But the best ones are gifts.
That's the power of love.
He wrote The Power of Love for the 1985 movie Back to the Future. The song became a #1 hit and was nominated for an Academy Award. In the movie, Lewis had an unlikely cameo.
I'm afraid you just too
Huey Lewis and the News continued touring and putting out a new album every few years. Most of the original members are still in the band.
It's really a family operation. And people say, are you still friends? Well, friends, it's way deeper than that. We're like brothers,
What's the secret of staying together so long?
We pay well. Such a good setup for that. You set me up so perfectly for that. We work hard, but not too hard, and we create a nice atmosphere.
With the re-release of Sports this year, they'll spend many weeks on the road playing 80 concerts. Do you ever think, though, I've worked enough, it's time to kick back and...
I do. I think about that. But the thing is, I love what I do. It's a great job. We're very lucky. And we try to remember that.
30 years later, Huey Lewis's heart still beats for rock and roll.